Chris Payne from Kayak Bass Fishing Magazine, kayakfishingblog.com, and the new PayneOutdoors.com. Today we're going to be talking to you about the new Chronarch 151 MGL from Shimano. Recently got the opportunity to try this reel out on the water. It was a windy day, so that was a great test for it, casting into the wind and with the wind, to be able to really see how those brakes work and then test out the drag when we actually caught a couple of fish. Today we're going to be talking to you about the new Chronarch 151 MGL from Shimano. Recently got the opportunity to try this reel out on the water. It was a windy day, so that was a great test for it, casting into the wind and with the wind, to be able to really see how those brakes work and then test out the drag when we actually caught a couple of fish. So let me give you the rundown on this. The Chronarch 151 MGL, so 151 indicates the last one, and that indicates it's left-handed. There's also a 150 MGL. And this reel has 11 pounds of drag, which is more than plenty for anything I'm going to be doing in freshwater 99.9% of the time. It weighs a small 6.5 ounces. So it's not a heavy reel. You're going to have less fatigue using the reel throughout the day. One of the things that I like about it, let me show you this, is having a side plate to be able to adjust the brakes. That's really nice. I really appreciate not having to take off this whole panel to make adjustments when I'm on the water. When you fish out of a kayak or a windy day in a boat or anything like that, where conditions are less than ideal, having quick access to that without having to pop it open and use nimble fingers or tweezers or anything is really helpful. So I really like that. You've got your spool tensioner knob, which is metal, not plastic, so that's nice. You've got multiple adjustment points. And then the handle is very similar to one of my favorite reels, the Titanium MGL. So nothing new there. So you'll notice that the Chronarch 151 MGL is a little bit of a hybrid between the Curado and the Titanium MGL. So the coloring is pretty much identical to the Curado, but the body style is a little bit closer to the Titanium. And the reel handles very well. I like using it on the water. A boneheaded thing that I did, I forget sometimes, well, it seems like almost every time, that when you have a new reel in the box, that your drag is not tight out of the box. You have to tighten that up. And so first fish of the day, I hadn't tightened it up. I hadn't even thought about it. And set the hook, and all I got was a bunch of line that came out. So make sure you tighten that drag up. Pro tip, not so pro tip. Not so pro tip. Anyway, so the reel performed really well. I know that there's going to be a lot of guys that remember the old white Chronarchs, and there's some guys that are still using those. And this reel might convince them to switch it up. Now, the only thing that I would change on this has to do with one of the things that I love. So I like the adjustment piece here. The thing that I'm not as crazy about is it's pretty tight. I mean, you got to kind of dig at it to get it to turn, and I'm sure there's a purpose behind it. There's a purpose behind everything that Shimano does, but it's just a little tight. I guess, if I were to guess what they were doing, they didn't want you to rest your thumb there or something and accidentally be able to spin it without intentionally wanting to. I wish that were a little bit looser, but no big deal. Usually I'm not adjusting that too much on the water anyway, unless there's a drastic change from the last time I went fishing. So today there was a lot of wind. Next time, if there's not, it could be a big change. So I've got some on the water footage I want to show you guys so you can kind of see the reel in action. I'll be right back. Okay, so as you can see, it handles really well. Fish of different sizes, it casts baits well. I may have had 2 backlashes all day, and they were early on. Once I set the reel and it was very quick to set up, it did fine with every bait that I was throwing. So if you get a chance next week and you're down at the Classic, or if you just want to buy one straight off, I'll have some links in the description below. Also, make sure that you go over to the Shimano page. You can get lots of different specs like line capacity and things like that. I'll drop a link in the description down there. If you like this video, make sure and give us a thumbs up. If you've got a buddy who's maybe looking for a few reels and maybe he's one of those white Chronarch users, send him this, share it with him. Let him see what the new stuff is like. And if you have questions, please, please, please leave us a comment. We appreciate you guys watching this video, and we'll see you next time.